Welcome back to Voicing Lived Experiences. In our last episode, we uncovered the staggering hidden financial costs borne by disabled individuals in Scotland. Today, we guide deeper, moving beyond the pounds and pence to explore the systemic barriers, the emotional impact of navigating support systems, and the fundamental right to not just survive, but to thrive. Once again, we draw on the crucial insights from Sarah and Laura. The process of accessing benefits, which are meant to provide support, can itself be a source of immense stress and dehumanisation. Sarah described the profound negative impact.
The impact is really huge and mostly quite negative. Disabled people have spoken about feeling completely brutalised by the process, emotionally empty. They felt that they were being scrutinised and marginalised and treated as if they were liars and scroungers and as if they should have to beg for the benefit. There are people who are so brutalised from their interactions with personal independence payments that even when they've been asked if they wanted to change to adult disability payments, they've decided not to do it. They don't want to have anything to do with Social Security Scotland because they think that it's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Laura shared her personal experience, highlighting just how invasive and traumatising these assessments can be.
How often, if you're a non-disabled person, do you have to speak about your health in this amount of detail to someone that you don't know? Not very often, if not ever. The minor kind of small details that are just so dehumanising that you hang up the phone and you have to think about that. Like, how do you feel about yourself? How does that build your confidence? How does that make you feel like your society cares about you in any way whatsoever? Of course it does affect mental health. How are we supposed to move past kind of any stigma to do taboo around disability if that's the way that kind of our state treats people?
Beyond the direct interaction with the benefits system, there are broader societal and systemic issues. Sarah spoke about intersectionality, where multiple forms of marginalisation compound the challenges.
Intersectionality plays a pivotal role. You get stacked stigmas or stacked oppressions. Rural disabled people are actually incredibly marginalised because of a lack of access to transport, healthcare, public and social living, lack of community. If you are trans and you are disabled, if you go to your GP, they might make everything about the fact that you're trans rather than you having a legitimate concern. They are always unsure of whether the barriers they face are due to their disability or due to stigma surrounding their sexual orientation or gender identity.
The conversation also touched upon the very definition of support. Is it merely about providing enough to exist, or is it about enabling full participation in society? Laura raised a crucial point about the right to be middle class, or more broadly, the right to leisure, social connection, and a life beyond basic needs.
Are you allowed to live a good life? Disability benefits function to kind of patch a failure of government to address societal inequalities. If, without a wider policy approach of how do we make sure that the transport system is accessible, how do we make sure that the infrastructure is usable for disabled people?
This leads to the critical question of solutions. Both Sarah and Laura emphasise the need for a holistic, person-centred approach, deeply rooted in human rights.
The biggest thing that needs to change is a holistic, person-centred model, right? That needs to integrate health and social care. The United Nations Convention for the Rights of People with Disabilities needs to be adhered to. We need better transitions from child disability to adult disability.
Social care. It's the number one priority for our members. Even if you have the most severe type of disability, you might only get support 4 days of the week out of 7. And then people need to cover that with their own costs. In the short term, the only way we can really address the inequalities that exist are by giving people money to cover these costs. Until we build a society that functions better and is more accessible, but that will take time.
A recurring and concerning theme was the failure of co-production, the idea that policies should be designed with disabled people, not just for them.
What is the point of co-production if you don't listen to those people? If what comes out of that doesn't actually matter because that's what we see again and again? I'm starting to feel like co-production is just a waste of time. I don't think it actually does anything.
The path towards genuine equality and inclusion is complex. It requires more than just financial adjustments. It demands a shift in societal attitudes, breaking down long-standing barriers, and a true commitment to upholding the dignity and rights of all disabled individuals. It's about creating a Scotland where everyone has the opportunity not just to survive, but to truly live a good life.